and welcome back to the show. It is time to try some fine wine.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the most renowned wineries in California, for that matter, in Napa for sure. Don Cook joining us, Canadian Regional Manager, and Tracy Mason, Executive VP of Global Marketing for Clos Du Val Winery. Hello, you guys.
Hello, how are you?
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about the winery, because it has a beautiful history and a beautiful story.
It really does. It was founded in 1972, so we're celebrating our 40th anniversary this year. So we're actually doing a 10-city tour. We're calling it our Big 4-0 tour. And in that Big 4-0 tour, we're doing 4 major events. So we have 40 events across North America, and we're kicking them off right here in Vancouver.
Well,
so really
busy times. And Don, tell us a little bit about the wines itself. We're going to try a couple today, but tell us about the signature wine.
Well, the signature wine would be the Napa Valley Cabernet, which is this wine here, and also in Magnum.
I went for the immediately.
I noticed that. I noticed that.
Woman after marathon.
But we also have a reputation for our Carneros Chardonnay, our Carneros Pinot Noir, and I brought a Zinfandel, which we only sell in Canada, not in the U.S.
Why is that?
It's a wine that we brought in. It hits a certain niche market, certain price point, and it's very popular here.
Well, and Tracy, just looking along here, you can see how well Clos Du Val meshes that traditional, deep-rooted Bordeaux sort of style of winemaking with real New World philosophy and modern winemaking as well. How important is mixing those two schools of thought in the success of this winery and the business?
I think it's essential to our core. I mean, we say all the time that we're balanced and elegant, and that's really how we talk about our wines, not only here in Canada, but across the world. And we were originally founded by John Gillette, who still owns the winery, who sent a French winemaker around the world to find the best places to grow Bordeaux and Burgundy varietals.
And that was it.
And so we landed in Napa Valley and in Stag's Leap District for our Cabernets, which is really why we founded the winery in the first place.
Well,
Okay, we're going to try. We got to get to trying some of the wines.
Okay.
Right.
We
okay.
mentioned the Chardonnay.
I think we have to hide this bottle.
I know.
That's right.
I know. Tell us about the Chardonnay.
Our Chardonnay is made in a very Burgundian style. It's barrel fermented. It's got a beautiful, beautiful pineapple nose. And even though it's fermented in oak, most of the oak is neutral, so it just gives it a little bit of roundness, but it has some beautiful acid, which makes it pair really, really well with Asian foods.
Nice.
And even just wonderful on its own, because it's got that lovely...
We got to bring
I was going to say, we got to bring that
here.
sushi back in here, I think, at this stage
We're
now.
eyeing it back there.
And Chardonnay really is, I mean, in the whites, it is the winemaker's wine, isn't it? I mean, just with the oaking and the barrel aging and all those decisions that go into it, it's just such a beautiful, complex white.
It is. It is the winemaker's wine. I think Pinot is also wine that winemakers tend, because it's a very finicky grape. So winemakers tend to get very drawn to it because they want to make it perfect.
Yeah. And Don, how about Vancouver as a market? What do we like as a wine?
That's a good question, but we have done very well with several of these wines here. In fact, the Cabernet is listed in the BC Monopoly stores.
Yeah.
The other ones would be in private stores and restaurants.
And you guys are doing some really cool things while you're in town. And for those people not watching hockey tonight, and I know it's sold out, but you guys are doing something...
Don's a Senators fan.
Yeah, that's all right. But you guys are doing something fascinating where
Canucks.
people are like, hey, she learned so fast. Well done, Tracy. But you guys are going back into the library a little bit as well, in the winery as well, which has got to be fascinating for people and for consumers and wine lovers to really go back and get a sense and a taste of history as you go through.
It is fascinating. I mean, I've had the privilege of tasting wines all the way back to our first vintage in 1972, and
How is that? I mean,
it's amazing. It's different. I mean, obviously, a younger wine's going to have more fruit and more complexity, and as the wine ages, it just changes, and you're getting more nuance from the wine, and it almost takes on a, I always say, almost bricky-like character to it in terms of.
And
its
it's
look.
beautiful because it's a history of the area as well. I mean, Stag's Leap, it didn't even have that name when Clos Du Val started there. It was.
No, I think that was 1993.
Yeah.
It was named.
Oh, those new kids with their new
And
names.
you got to tell us a little bit about the California Wine Fair. What's happening? Because of course it's happening here in Vancouver. You guys are making stops everywhere.
We are going to be stopping all across Canada. So we will be in Vancouver, we'll be in Calgary, we'll be in Toronto, we'll be in Montreal, we'll be in Halifax. It's very important for us to have distribution, exposure, to have the end consumer try the wines all across this great country.
Yeah, how important is that, Trace? I mean, just to get the bottle in people's hands, to have them taste it and really understand the process and the winemaking and the signature of Clos Du Val.
Well, I think every winemaker wants to have their wines speak for themselves, and I think when people taste our wines, as you just did with our Chardonnay, they really do.
People
speak
may
for
have heard me
themselves.
go, "Oh, wow."
So that's the kind of reaction I think our winemakers are really working towards, and we're constantly innovating. We're constantly looking to evolve our wines to stay current, to make sure that we're incorporating modern winemaking techniques, and I think the results speak for themselves.
How important is that? Because the industry is changing so significantly now with incorporating technology, and there is this new wave of winemakers and vintners and people that are coming into the business that really have some interesting ideas of how to do it.
There absolutely is, but I mean, there's also a standard that's set. I mean, Clos Du Val, we've had our vineyards since 1972. We've been farming the same vineyards for 40 years. So, I mean, we know what's going to come out of them. We know how to work with them. And there's sort of a romance to that as opposed to buying fruit in the open market, putting it in an expensive package. I mean, we are in love with these wines. We're in love with the land from which they come, and
it's nice to have that history.
It
too.
is. It's beautiful.
Well, if you want to check it out, as we mentioned, the California Wine Fair will be making a stop here in Vancouver and all over the place. Actually, the event in Vancouver is happening on April the 18th, so don't miss it. It's going to be at the Vancouver Convention Center. And go to the website to find out all the other dates that are going to be happening near you. Thanks so much, you guys.
There is no way you can sneak this out without someone catching it.
Darn!
So you know in advance, you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank
Cheers.
you. My pleasure. Thank you for
Go
having
Canucks.
us.
Go Senators.
Go
Yeah, there you go.